everybody. How you doing? An interview with Justin Bragg. How are you, man?
I'm fantastic. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. Staying out of the heat.
I was just in it, but now I am. Now I
Yeah.
am.
For those of you who haven't lived in Bangor or who live out of state, out of the country, you know, hopefully out of the country, I want this to reach you guys too. If you've lived in Bangor, you've at least heard the name DJ Too Fat, kind of a vet in the area, someone who's made a lot of rounds. But what a lot of people don't know, because there's just a logo behind the page, you do what people know in Bangor as one-offs. Tell us a little bit about the one-offs.
When I started, I was like, I don't even want to show my face. I kind of wanted to be a mystery, and then the news called, so I was like,
Yeah.
all right, I gotta do this. I can't like put a Transformer mask on and do the interview. So the page is called One Offs. It started off as an idea on my personal Facebook. People that might follow Barstool Sports, Dave went into a pizza place and had an argument with a guy. And the place was called Dragonfly Pizza or something, Dragonfire Pizza. So as a joke, I just I made a shirt and came up with the design. And then I put it on my Facebook, and a couple people were like, man, I like that shirt. I want the shirt. I had just bought one of those cry cut things, a cricket thing at a yard sale. So I was like, all right, well, I kind of had the means to do it. The first one went really well. I posted it, and then I said, like, another day rolled around. I made another one. And then by about day three or so, I was like, I could do this every day, but I would like to pivot not towards like the national audience, but more Bangor, Penobscot County, Maine, all that kind of stuff. I went more in that direction, kind of made some Bangor inspired shirts, brought back some old logos, and that's kind of how I got started.
You had the Spanky's Pizza.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
started before even One Off started. I was going to do this thing called Bangor Classics where I brought back some old logos, and like my passion project was great skates, and I knew the owner, and I really could not find a high res of the image. So yeah, I started like messing around to do that. And then I was like, all right, well, I have this Bangor Classics thing, and that's just logos of old businesses. What if I make, a joke, something about the Duck of Justice, or which is like a local Bangor Police Department mascot, or local celebrities you might see walking around, legends that are in bars and stuff. So it wasn't necessarily just the old business things.
Yeah.
So I kind of pivoted to do a large array of things.
So you really carved out a great little spot. There's White Lobster
Yep.
downtown. I know there's like Red Rabbit and stuff. They don't do what you do.
Yeah, I love Chris and I love White Lobster, but I think he doesn't like the idea for the simple fact of he's in the business of vintage. And there's going to be some days where someone's going to be like, look at this Spanky shirt, man, it's vintage. And he's going to be like, I know where that came from. Someone might walk into his shop and try to sell like a Bangor Blue Ox hat or something like
Gotcha.
that. So some of my recreations could trick some people. That's not what I'm trying to do. With the diehard vintage people, they're like, oh yeah, I'd rather look for a shirt that says Spankies. You to
Gotcha.
create one, or you to recreate the logo, because they're real diehard vintage. And like for example, if I was to grab a 2X or a 3X of let's just say great skates, I don't know how many portly little kids are running around that they had to make a 2 or 3X
Yeah.
back then. So they don't exist, especially like old wrestling shirts and stuff like that. Not that I've gotten into it, but that's why I kind of like, if you go on Instagram, there's tons of people who are recreating old images and old logos and stuff like that, or bringing them
Yeah.
back. So yeah, no, it's one of the reasons is like, well, you can get any size, it's not like one of those things where if you were going to get, cold transportation museum shirt,
Right.
oh, well, it's a medium. You're like, oh, all right, that's not for me. So if you can make that available and order it, it's pretty cool. I love White Lobster, by the way. Shout out to Chris. He's a good guy. Yeah, I'm just, and not just him. Any kind of people who are diehard vintage resellers. What I do is kind of sacrilege, I think, a little bit. But I mean, there's no shirt available for some of the stuff I make. So.
I mean, man, you could go on T Public and you could type in trending, and there's a shirt with a possum on it in one color. 6 shirts later, same shirt, different color. So, sacrilege? No, I don't know.
Yeah.
That sacrilege. You're just nostalgic.
Well, some of mine are original too, kind of ideas, jokes and stuff. So yeah, no. Again, that's just my assumption.
Yeah.
But in fact, secretly, I hope someone does walk in and go, "Oh my gosh, look at this! Look at this Divas strip club shirt. It's from the '90s." He's like, "I know it's not. I know who made that."
Um, so you've also established yourself in, well, at least in places I'm familiar with, as a person who gets some pretty damn good signed merchandise, which I can definitely attest to. Does
Yeah,
one niche fit into the other as far as like one-offs and then the merchandise, or is it totally different?
for me, it was a chain of events. It's funny that we just talked about the vintage clothes thing because a little bit before the pandemic, I started to get into the vintage clothes thing. And then I realized the profit margins really weren't that huge. I mean, they can be if some reason, you find like a Van Halen shirt that's worth like 300 and you pay $5, but it's really rare. So I started a little bit in that. I linked up with Chris when he didn't have a brick and mortar store over at his garage, and kind of talked to him. And then I realized my first thought was, well, there's no scene for that here. And then talking to him, I'm like, oh, there's plenty of people who do it. So great, that's something that's available here. And then I realized that with the disposable income that was coming in with money from the pandemic and stuff, and people not working and getting assistance and stuff. One of the big things was they were trying to relive their childhood. So I pivoted pretty quick into vintage toys, and I did really well with that, a lot better. There was a boom, kind of. People were paying really great prices for old Ninja Turtles. I was hitting up, yard sales and stuff once, everything was kind of opening up. Hitting up thrift stores, going online, eBay, all that kind of stuff. So I started to do that. That was kind of my second little side hustle. And then that started to kind of crescendo, kind of go down and all that. And then I realized that there wasn't a place around town. There's plenty of sports memorabilia places, which are great, but there wasn't a whole lot of places to get signed merchandise. I had a store in the Bangor Mall with Will from Bangor Comic Con. I had a little section in there, and he had some stuff, but it was mostly celebrities who had worked with the con. So I realized that once I started to get some names that were a little harder to get, that was something. I've had a bunch of side gigs and have switched around, and even the autograph thing, I get one once in a while if I know it's for a certain person. But yeah, kind of put all my time into one offs.
For anybody who doesn't know, Bangor Comic and Toy Con, run by Will Hesketh and Jay Cochran. They also run Maine Comic and Toy Con over in Portland. I don't know if you've ever had a table. Have you bought a table? And if so, how has it gone?
No, I didn't. Well, I can't say that. There was a couple of like markets less than cons. I don't
Yep.
know if they had an official name, but they were inside of the Bangor Mall.
Yeah.
So I did set up right out front. So I did have like a little section there. The only experience I have as far as working a con was, I think it was the first or second year for Bangor Comic Con before Will had it. I got to DJ in the background as you were walking around, which is awesome because I was like very excited. I was finding old theme songs and remixes of Power Ranger themes and all this stuff. I got to work with the guys from Ochang Comics, which is like an older animation series from Maine
Yeah.
that used to be. So that's where I met those guys and linked up with them. And I had a couple of samples from their cartoons I was dropping randomly, just little stuff like that. I never have had a booth myself, but I definitely respect those people, man. I mean, it's one of those things where you really got to put yourself out there and kind of. It's almost like door to door sales. Like, hey, sir, hey, check this out, check this out.
I think they're called Northeast Collectibles. I don't know how they do it. You're looking for this? Oh, well, hold on. I got this here.
Yeah, Bobby and Mikey. Yeah, Mikey's
Yep.
Mikey's one of those guys, man. He's like a barker at the fair. He's like
Yeah.
hot dogs, but instead he's like Punisher comics.
Yep. And he saw my one of my Celtics hats, and he was like, "Oh, are you looking for basketball pops by chance?" I thought,
Perfect.
"Oh yeah." And he starts showing me them, and then Michael Jordan, and of
Yep.
course, it's Michael Jordan. I've got to get it. And he had a young Jordan in the
Nice.
classic Bulls jersey, and that was it. Got to take it. I was looking for North Carolina Jordan. He didn't have it at the time. So I'm pretty sure you mentioned that you are just in the realm of Maine, but
Yep.
New England, Massachusetts, New York, Vermont, whatever, we're small.
Yep.
Have you been able to get your merch into any businesses out of state?
Not necessarily out of state, in the hands of people out of state for sure. I ship a bunch. There's a lot of transplants, people that were in the Bangor area or people
Yeah.
that were they lived in Levant growing up or anything like that. But yeah, I've shipped to, I think one was like Alaska, North Carolina, and then some of the New England states as well. It's one of those things where once something gets shared or a shirt gets shared, it doesn't just limit it to somebody that's here. It's not like you have to pick it up. So it's one of those things where I have ran into some people from out of state or people that moved when they were young and they're like,
Yeah.
man, that logo or that phrase or whatever is so out of my mind. And so it's cool. It's like the shirts ended up becoming kind of like nostalgic reminders that you can like wear every day. So that's like a nice little way to put it.
People go nuts. I'm one of them.
Yep.
Yeah, rocket power, for example. I see some
Yeah.
rocket power stuff and I'm just like, wow, that's sick days at grandma and grandpa's house. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. For me, it's like yesterday. Yesterday was a shirt for Unicell. It's like an old cell phone company,
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
and it's not something where people are like, I have to have that. But for me, it was just weird. I think I found like a business card someone shared a couple days ago, which man, that's my bread and butter. Someone will go, I found a postcard, and I'm like, stealing that logo. I'm gonna rip that up and I'm gonna make it a vector and go in and fine tune it. But for me, I don't know what it was about that Unicell logo. It's like I saw that so much growing up. It was everywhere. They advertised everywhere. So that's happened a couple times where it's like it has been so long since I've seen this image or this logo. Those are fun to kind of put on shirts and stuff.
Stepping back from New England into, Maine itself, no matter what DJ, the merch, or the shirts, your track record is one of success. I think that's due to, solid business model, nose to the pavement, boots on the ground. But how do you think that you've succeeded in Maine? There's a very hungry population in Bangor who love that stuff, but then you go out to, and no offense to any town or anything like that. Okay, people, we're just getting that across now. You go out to Carmel or you go out to the county and the vibe totally changes. Do you think it's just like you're the needle mover?
I don't think it has anything to do with me at all. And like I said before, I mean, if I had my choice, I wouldn't put a name attached to it. I think that adds a different mystique to it. I've spoke about this before to different people, but one of the fun things, it's the shirt is one thing. It's fun to do that. And then what comes with that, and I'm trying to get back into it, putting a little more thought into it. There's also a caption with the shirt. It's a mix of things. It's either completely made up humor or a story from my life about how I remember something or I heard this or a bunch of stuff. So it's the shirt, the caption, it's all that stuff. But I think coming together as a whole package, I think that's what people enjoy. It is me behind it, but it's I kind of step out of myself for the most part, unless it's a
Yeah.
story about something that it happened in my life or something like that. But I think that this could have been anyone. There was a company who just put out some shirts. I don't know if I would call it a company, but he, I think, did the Bounty logo, which was a club in Bangor. He did, I can't think of it exactly. I found out about this after researching for logos and stuff. I think it's been done, but I don't think it's been done to a level of trying to create a whole package and make it look a little professional. There's
Yeah.
always a background that has to do something with the shirt or something along with it. There's the caption, there's the shirt. So I think as a whole package, and then I think some of them I totally strike out and I totally get that. Some of them people are like, I don't get it, I don't like it, I don't want to even hit like. It's totally fine. Because at the end of the day, I have to do this every single day for a whole year. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm 300 days in, which is
Wow.
crazy for me to even say. So every day for 300 days. And I've also done bonus shirts, sometimes two or three bonus shirts. Like I'll say, hey, it's 10 p.m. Let's do something weird. And
Yep.
so I think cumulatively, I've probably done like 320 shirts by the end of this. And that's not counting someone who says, hey, I do MMA, will you make my walkout shirt? And then
Oh,
I don't
nice.
I don't announce that on the page. Or hey, I've had one where I work at Verizon. My wife would like something kind of funny. Could you do that? Or I want one that says Grammy Saurus on it. I'm not going to put that on the one-off page, but I have to still it is
Right.
technically a design and a shirt that I created. To think that it's only been 1 year and I've done this much and started from scratch from day one is pretty crazy. Like I said, I feel like it's a concept that anybody could, but who wants to put the time into it? I mean, sometimes
Right.
I'm taking a match book from eBay that's for sale, and then I have to go in and the U is only half a U because someone scratched it. So I have to fill in part of the
Yep.
U and go in, remove the background. And then this thing has a little bit of a white mark. So I go in and so there is a lot of work with it. There is a lot of like sort of passion, I guess. I'm trying to make sure that the overall product is good. So I don't think, I guess it's my work that I'm putting into actually creating the shirt, but anybody can do it. I'm not going to say that I'm some sort of genius for thinking of this or anything like that. But I think just a small seed of an idea turned into this, and we're almost to like 900 followers now, and we've had people who have bought I mean, one lady took like 11 shirts one day. So,
Wow.
and then I think another great guy from the area, Doc Goodwin, who does Maine Veterans Project, works with veterans. I think he's taken like, I don't know, 15 of the shirts. So,
Yep.
yeah, so there's some repeat customers. There's some people who have like a whole, wardrobe of one-offs, and there's a guy who bought the first one who's very proud that he has the first one. So yeah, no, it's been amazing. But yeah, I think anybody could do it.
With the recent closure of a few local Bangor venues, Queen City and the BAE, just which is absolutely insane for Bangor. They were pretty important to media and the arts. Where do you think things are headed? And do you think anybody will kind of be the person to make the next push?
As one-offs for myself, geez, and that's a whole different thing right
Just
there.
in general, do you think that things will work themselves out or, things won't be set back? And do you think that there's someone who will say, all right, I'm taking this on? So, like, do you think anybody will do it for the arts?
I think if you take a region, I think
Yep.
there's definitely some promise. Do I think Bangor, which is like the city I've always claimed and the city that I've done a lot of stuff in, and I think we got a long, long path to
Yeah.
get back to where we were. And I don't know what that path is, but I think not to get necessarily political in any way, but
No, no,
I
you're
think that
good.
our the legislature the people running stuff could definitely be doing a better job to
Yes.
kind of give some of these businesses a white glove technique or to help them out in any way or to see who's struggling and who's not. Uh,
Right.
one of those situations. Is it on the town? No, not at all.
No.
But and it could go to, there's a lot of contests on these radio stations and stuff like that, and they're doing these things where they're trying to get clicks on their
Yeah.
website. Why not do a segment on either the TV or the radio where it's like, hey, let's support this business. A lot of the
Right.
times it's like, hey, who wants to get $10 off? That person bought that. That person has the money to get $10 off. But
Right.
let's talk to the people who could go, hey, here's a business highlight about a place that you might not know about. I really think it could help. That's just my opinion.
Honestly, I had to continue, not to get political, but I think there's a lot of push, not from the city at all, because I think they're all pretty much on the same page, but damn, people are really pushing for investors and for bougie ass people to come in and like
Yeah.
create high rise. And I'm sorry, there's nobody who's gonna buy a damn high rise luxury condo in Bangor who's like a local.
Not a local, no, but there
No,
are
not at
there are
all.
there are 1,000 out of towners that'll do it.
Yeah,
And that's
and
what's happening right now.
they're ruining it, man.
And then they're getting here and realizing that there's a homeless population that no one can control right now. So it's such a open-ended question, but I think that it's not one of those things where you can just poke it with one sword or in one spot. It's not a beast that you can slay by oh hey, poke it in its eye. No, it needs to be completely demolished or redone or put a different heart in that beast. I don't know, but especially growing up here and realizing the potential of what it has in this area and seeing all of these music scenes thrive and not thrive and stuff like that. And I think it does have potential, but I think there's a lot of work to go.
Yeah,
But
it's unfortunate.
rest in peace, Queen City. I just want to say that.
Yeah,
They,
yes.
I really do really quick have to say, those people helped me out tremendously in every single endeavor I've ever had, and I cannot thank them enough. And it's a
Man,
huge loss. I think the huge loss and the huge rebuilding of this area definitely started with that place for sure, man. Because that was huge.
don't want to go into it too much because,
Yeah,
like, we're all honestly, I don't know about everybody else who's been there. I'm still kind of shocked and reeling and like, holy crap. Um, but like, yeah, they were pillars. They were pillars, and yeah, they helped me out as well every step of the way.
and I think their business model of let us know what you want to do. Let's see if
Yep.
it's something that we can do is not something that's replicated in this area,
No,
unless you have a
no.
bunch of money that can rent out a place. But it's one of those things that's going to be a lot of work to tackle. Hopefully, it happens.
Well, I think that that's probably a good time to wrap it up.
Nice.
Since I hope that you enjoyed this, I certainly enjoyed it, and I hope all of you watching enjoyed it. So thank you so much, man, and thank
No
you for
problem.
watching. and I'll catch you guys later.